I hate when people call me an alcoholic, because I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a drunk.
Friday afternoon, and welcome to 11 Alive News at 4. I'm Jonathan Martin.
And I'm Faith Jesse, and we begin with that deadly shooting at a Covington Walmart. The Newton County Sheriff's Office says an employee there shot and killed one of his coworkers inside the store and injured another in the parking lot.
And then they say he drove about a mile and a half down the road and shot and killed another employee. The gunman, Dwayne Etta.
It was just past 1:30 in the morning, the deep quiet that settles over a large store during the overnight hours. Inside a Walmart in Newton County, Georgia, workers moved through aisles under bright, steady lights. This was the rhythm of a typical shift, stocking, organizing, preparing for the day ahead. A place of routine, familiar and ordinary, but that night, ordinary stopped, abruptly. The sound of gunshots ripped through the calm. A scene of commerce became a scene of fear. The violence that erupted in this public space wasn't contained here, it left. It drove down darkened roads, away from the store, heading toward somewhere private, somewhere sacred, a home. How does a shift at work follow you to your front door with deadly intent? This isn't simply about a crime happening at a workplace, it's about a crime that began at work and escalated, becoming a focused hunt. It ended with doors kicked open and a 19-year-old's life taken inside her own house. What threads tie together a late-night shift at a store and a brutal, fatal home invasion miles away, resulting in the death of Akeela Clerke? That is the question we must ask. Welcome to Whistles of True Crime, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most chilling true crime tales. If you crave real-life crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat, you are in the right place. Kindly subscribe to this channel now, and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. Our story unfolds in Newton County, Georgia, a county like many others in the state, where daily life follows familiar rhythms. On Friday, April 11, 2025, the ordinary peace of this county was abruptly shattered. The life tragically ended that night belonged to Akeela Clerke. She was just 19 years old, a young woman making her home in Covington, Georgia. Her family had recently moved here from New York, searching for improved circumstances, for a place to build a secure future away from the city's pace. Akeela was part of that hope, actively building her own path forward. Her path, on that Friday morning, April 11, 2025, led her to a place most people consider completely ordinary, the Walmart Supercenter on Salem Road in Newton County. A familiar landmark for shoppers and employees alike. It was here, in the very early hours, just past 1:30 a.m., that this story of unthinkable violence began its chilling progression from a public workspace to a private tragedy. Before we trace the steps of that horrific night, stopping to remember Akeela, her family, and the potential stolen, if her story touches you, please take a moment. A simple like, share and subscription truly helps honor her memory by ensuring this narrative is heard and reminding us of the lives affected by such events. Your engagement makes a difference. Inside the Newton County Walmart, the clock ticked past 1:30 a.m. The rhythm of the overnight shift was a familiar, predictable beat: restocking, cleaning, the quiet work under the bright, consistent glow. It felt safe, it felt normal. People were simply doing their jobs in a place designed for commerce and routine. Suddenly, the quiet shattered. Gunfire. In an instant, the store floor became a scene of panic and pain. 2 men were struck down. Caliph Barksdale, just 21, lost his life right there, inside the store where he worked. Ryan Bradley, 29, was hit multiple times, critically wounded but clinging to survival. The ordinary setting was now marked by tragedy. The person behind the gun was identified as Dwayne Edu, a 24-year-old who worked alongside the victims. Information later indicated Edu left the store at some point, acquired a firearm, and then returned. After the shots that struck Caliph and Ryan, Edu exited the building once more, out into the dark morning. His actions inside the store were horrific. But where was he going now? His motive is still unclear after the initial attack. His next destination was unknown as he disappeared into the night. This sudden violence in a place of everyday life forces a question many likely asked that night. Have you ever felt completely secure in a place you know intimately, only for that feeling to be suddenly shattered?
Right, deputies still don't know the motive in this case. What they do know is that the suspect shot two of his co-workers here inside this Walmart, then drove to another co-worker's home about a mile away from here and shot and killed her. As you said, the video you are about to see that the victim's mother gave to me is disturbing.
He released like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots.
The in-home surveillance video shows the murder as it played out. The video, which we decided to play on mute because the sounds are way too graphic, shows a man run up the stairs of this home on Emerson Trail early Friday morning. He first shoots through the door and then kicks his way in. Once inside, he opened fire. The video shows him run back down the stairs and out the door. Bullets hit 19-year-old Akeela Clerke. She died at the scene.
She fell on impact. And at that very end, I knew that my daughter was gone.
Newton County Sheriff's deputies tell me the shooting rampage began at this Walmart on Salem Road. They say an employee identified as 24-year-old Dwayne Uda got into some sort of argument with two other employees. Deputies say Uda then walked out to his car, got a gun, and returned to the store.
Located a Mr. Khalif Barksdale and shot that gentleman. He located Ryan Bradley and shot that gentleman.
Khalif Barksdale died. Ryan Bradley, critically wounded. Deputies say they eventually found Uda right across the state line in South Carolina. Once surrounded by law enforcement, they say Uda shot himself.
Mr. Uda is currently in a hospital in Augusta in critical condition.
As for a motive, investigators still don't have those details. But Samantha Clark says though her daughter was not in a relationship with Uda, she did complain of issues at the Walmart.
If he survives this, it's a self-inflicted wound. What do you want him to know?
I don't have anything to say to him.
Now, Samantha Clark did show up here at the press briefing and actually questioned deputies about how long it took for authorities to respond to her home after that deadly shooting. That is a part of the story that I'm working on, all new for Channel 2 Action News beginning at 5.
Could this kind of unpredictable danger appear anywhere, even in your own community, turning the familiar unfamiliar? Dwayne Edu walked out of the Walmart that night and got into his car. He didn't just leave the scene of the initial shooting, he headed straight for a specific address. Less than 2 miles away, on Emerson Trail, was Akeela Clerke's home. The place she lived, the place she should have been completely safe from the violence that had just erupted at her workplace. Safety became an illusion moments later. Edu arrived at Akeela's house and wasted no time. The front door, a simple barrier meant to protect those inside, was violently kicked in. He didn't knock. He didn't ask for entry. He simply forced his way inside, bringing the violence he started elsewhere into a private residence, shattering the peace of the household. Inside was Akeela and her mother, Samantha Clarke. Samantha would later recount the horror of watching the attack on her daughter unfold before her eyes. Edu confronted Akeela. Shots were fired and Samantha heard 7, maybe 8 shots. Her daughter, attacked and killed in their own home, and just before the door was kicked down, in those final terrifying seconds, Akeela urged her mother to call the police. She told her to make the call. Did Akeela know he was coming? Had something happened we don't yet understand that made her anticipate this moment? The question hangs heavy in the silence after the shots. After the shooting, Edu left the house, leaving Samantha and Akeela's younger sister, who had hidden in a closet, unharmed physically, but forever scarred by what they saw and heard. He only targeted Akeela. This invasion of a safe space, this witnessed loss by a mother. It represents the peak of the emotional pain and horror in this story. This part is incredibly difficult to hear, I know. If you are finding the strength to listen to Akeela's story unfold, please consider supporting this channel. Sharing this video or leaving a comment with your thoughts or condolences is a way to acknowledge the weight of this tragedy and the lives forever changed. It helps ensure Akeela is remembered and that her story is heard. With the violence stopped, first at the Walmart and then at Akeela's home, the immediate focus shifted to locating the assailant. The Newton County Sheriff's Office immediately began a wide search for Dwayne Edu. Information indicated he was on the move, fleeing eastward on Interstate 20. Authorities in Georgia quickly coordinated with law enforcement across the border in South Carolina, setting the stage for his apprehension. Their combined efforts successfully located Edu in South Carolina around 3:55 a.m. A brief standoff with officers from the Aiken County Sheriff's Office and South Carolina State Troopers followed his stop. Tragically, during that confrontation, Edu shot himself.
Right now, the Newton County Sheriff's Office says 19-year-old Akeela Clerke and 21-year-old Khalef Barksdale were killed in this morning's shootings. Deputies say that the gunman, their co-worker Dwayne Edda, ended up fleeing to South Carolina before shooting himself.
Let's get you now live to Chase Howell, who has been on this story all day, tracking it. You're on Emerson Trail. That's the second location that Edda traveled to. So, Chase, do deputies have any idea why this happened, why he did this?
Jennifer, Faith, that's the question police and the families of those victims are asking right now. And I want to show you what's going on behind me. This is actually the home of Akeela Clerke, who was one of those people you just mentioned who died in last night's shooting. Family and friends have been sitting outside her home, listening to music, loving on one another, and letting off balloons. And I wish you could hear the moment just a little bit ago where those cries just echoed across the street. And many in the community are grieving right along with those families.
Walmart closed.
Police cars replaced those of shoppers at the Walmart on Salem Road in Covington on Friday.
That's crazy. Yeah, I find it crazy because we come here all the time. I never would expect nothing like this to happen.
The Newton County Sheriff's Office says Dwayne Uda shot two of his co-workers during their shift early Friday morning, killing one and injuring another.
If the store was open, you wouldn't be able to see him the whole time in the store because he works in the very back. So I don't know how anything will happen, how you would get in an altercation with anybody. It's like something like that will only happen if you want it to happen.
Investigators say Uda then drove less than 2 miles down the street, broke into a different co-worker's home, and shot and killed her.
And he came in her room and he went for her. He walked right past my sister. He didn't even look in her direction. He didn't say nothing to her. He didn't point the gun at her. He didn't try to hurt her. He came for the target and he got his target, unfortunately.
Natalia Edwards says her niece, 19-year-old Akeela Clerke, was the woman killed. Why she was targeted, Edwards can only speculate.
We're not really sure of the details of what's really happening, but from what we kind of know, there was a problem going on at the job, at the workplace, and it just escalated.
I called and my daughter called. She was on the phone for 29 minutes.
That's Clark's mother, who questioned police about why deputies took so long to respond after her daughter was shot. Their response, that they'll check into it. And in the meantime, there are questions about the motive. Why did this happen?
He was transported to a hospital in critical condition but died from his injuries 2 days later, on Sunday, April 13, 2025. With his death came the definitive end to any potential legal proceedings in Georgia, closing one chapter of the case but leaving others wide open. The most painful question for the victims' families, especially Akeela's mother, is the one that remains unanswered publicly: why? Authorities have never publicly identified a motive for Edua's targeted violence that night. No clear reason has been provided for why he attacked his co-workers, and specifically, why he pursued and killed Akeela with such focused aggression. It's a lack of closure that deepens the grief immeasurably. Consider what Akeela's mother shared, that her daughter had recently voiced complaints about Edu. This stands in stark contrast to officials reportedly calling them merely acquaintances. Was there something specific happening within their workplace relationship or outside of work that escalated to this unimaginable point? In the wake of the profound loss, the Newton County community gathered to support those affected and remember the lives taken too soon.
Holding on to balloons, holding on to each other.
I honestly didn't want to release my balloon, but I did it for her, and I miss her a lot.
Releasing balloons, but never the memories.
She's really vibrant, bubbly, friendly, loving, caring. She'll give you her last dollar if she had it. She was so ready to go to college and become a labor and delivery nurse. She was just ready to take the world by storm.
Natalia says she could feel Akeela Clerke's presence.
Yeah, I do. Definitely do.
So could Danielle.
You definitely can.
As she remembered the 19-year-old, her daughter's best friend,
She was just a beautiful soul, you know. She's so giving. She's so giving, so loving. This is heartbreaking. Nobody ever expects this, you know what I mean? Nobody ever expects it.
Danielle never did.
I lost.
A balloon release on April 13th honored Akeela, a moment for family and friends to celebrate her too short life and mourn together. Financial support was sought for her family through a GoFundMe campaign to help with unexpected expenses. Caliph Barksdale was also remembered with a similar gathering on what would have been his 22nd birthday. Efforts were made to support Ryan Bradley's difficult recovery journey, and calls for an end to gun violence echoed, with community members who had experienced similar pain speaking out and advocating for change. Walmart released a statement expressing deep sadness regarding the events and pledging cooperation with investigators. Just 2 days after the shooting, the Salem Road store reopened. Life, in some ways, attempted to resume a semblance of normalcy. But the place where the violence began, and the community surrounding it, will forever carry the weight of what happened that early morning, the loss of Akeela Clerke and Caliph Barksdale, and the questions that persist about why this happened. To truly grasp the weight of this tragedy, we must look at who Akeela Clerke was before that terrible night. She was 19, a recent graduate of Newton High School in 2024, standing at the threshold of her adult life. She wasn't waiting for the future, she was already actively moving towards her goals. She was taking online nursing studies, working determinedly towards her dream career. Akeela had a specific aspiration within nursing. She wanted to become a labor and delivery nurse. A role centered around bringing new life into the world, a pursuit that clearly reflected a caring and nurturing nature. And her heart for others extended beyond career goals. Those who knew her described her spirit warmly, as bubbly, friendly, loving, and caring. She was known for her generosity, ready to help someone in need even with her last dollar. Her dreams weren't limited to nursing alone. She also harbored entrepreneurial ambitions, envisioning potentially opening a medical practice in the future alongside her friend Nathalia Edwards, who aimed to become a pediatrician. These were not small dreams, they were concrete plans to build, to contribute to her community, to make a tangible difference in the lives of others. Family was the heart of Akeela's world. Her mother, Samantha, her father in Guyana, her sisters and brother, her grandparents, her aunts, she was deeply connected to all of them. The move from New York was for a better life, a future built together as a family. Her loss leaves a profound, aching void in that close network, a pain felt across states and even continents. A young life overflowing with specific plans, for a career helping others, for building a business, for supporting her family, extinguished by violence with no publicly known motive. It feels like a cruel disruption of immense potential. What meaning can we possibly take from such a devastating, seemingly senseless act? Akeela's story, in its tragic details and the unanswered questions it leaves behind, forces us to confront some difficult truths about vulnerability, potential warning signs in behavior, and the far-reaching impact of unresolved conflict. Akeela Clerke's story, moving from the fluorescent lights of a Walmart to the presumed safety of her bedroom, exposes a difficult truth about our sense of security. It underscores just how quickly the ordinary can turn terrifying, and how vulnerable we can be even in places we frequent every day or within the walls of our own homes. This case also prompts us to look closely at the interactions and potential tensions within our daily lives, even in workplaces. Were there warning signs in behavior that went unnoticed? Could things have unfolded differently if concerns had been addressed or taken more seriously? Remember that chilling detail we shared earlier? Akeela urging her mother to call the police just before the door was kicked in, she told her mother to make the call. What prompted that urgent plea in her final moments? It's a part of the story that warrants deep thought and perhaps a second look. Rewind if you need to. The loss of Akeela Clerke sent profound ripples of pain through her family, her friends, and the wider community she was a part of. A single act of violence had consequences that reached across many lives, forever altering their landscape. Her story reminds us how quickly a life can be taken. No, seriously, it highlights just how swiftly a future full of dreams can be extinguished. But her impact is also in the memory of the person she was, her kindness, her goals, her desire to help others. As we conclude this difficult narrative, we should remember Akeela Clerke not solely for the tragic circumstances of her death, but for the young woman she was. 19 years old, aspiring nurse, future entrepreneur, a caring daughter, sister, and friend. Her life, though cut short by senseless violence, held immense value and brought light to those who knew and loved her. That is the legacy we should carry forward. Sharing stories like Akeela's is more than just recounting a crime, it's a way to honor the individuals whose lives were taken and to perhaps gain understanding that could contribute to preventing future tragedies. If Akeela's story resonated with you, or if you believe these narratives are important to hear and learn from, please consider subscribing to Whistles of True Crime. Liking and sharing this video also helps ensure Akeela's story reaches more people, keeping her memory alive and serving as a difficult but necessary lesson. Our hearts go out to Akeela's family and friends during this incredibly difficult time. We are deeply saddened by the loss of such a promising young woman and hope you find strength and comfort in the memories you shared with her. Her light will not be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you crave to see more stories like this, where ordinary lives are shattered by extraordinary events, kindly do subscribe this channel, turn on the notification bell, so that you be the first to know when we drop our next video. More answers waiting to be discovered. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.